Salutations everyone, this is Ra. Hope you like the new intro with my nice little font and everything. Here it is, the conclusion to hip hop and wrestling, the way that I've done it after much decision making. I was kind of vacillated on how I was going to do it. The way it's going to be done is question and answer. So, the first question is, the first wrestling match I've ever seen was a match between Diamond Dallas Page and Bret Hart on WCW Nitro. All I can remember from it is that a chair was used. Bret Hart, I think, used a chair on Diamond Dallas Page and gave him a sharpshooter on that chair. And the first WWF match that I've ever seen was a match between The Brood and I forgot who else, and there was a bloodbath. It's the coolest thing I had ever seen, and I still watch wrestling to this day. First wrestling game I've ever played was this game right here, WCW versus the NWO World Tour. It's the first WCW game I've ever played. The first WWF game I've ever played was WWF In Your House. It was the WWF game. It was kind of like Mortal Kombat. Like it had, I know it had Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H on there, and his powers are like delivering like a sledgehammer shot, and they had I think Owen Hart like throwing out cards and things like that, and Undertaker had like a soul punch. It was like he had punch and it had like this green like orb around it, some shit like that. It's pretty cool. And the person who bought me that actually bought it by mistake, because the game that I was looking for was this right here, WWF Warzone. I was looking for it on PlayStation because, again, I had played the demo. It had Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels as the preset characters that you could choose. And I liked it. And then I remember when I was younger, the main wrestling game that I wanted was this, WWF Attitude, and I could never get it. But yeah, that was just a little chronology of some of the wrestling games I have. I got pretty much all of them, but that'd be another video. I could do that in, I guess. If I had a wrestling promotion, it would be called Pro Wrestling Purists. It means that I would stick to the traditions of pro wrestling, which means that I would stick to the art of it, focusing on holds, chain moves, and the spectacle of what's going on in the ring. So yeah, that's what I would call it, Pro Wrestling Purist, PWP. The first wrestling action figure I've ever bought, there was a Toys R Us here in Chicago. It's no longer here. We only have, I believe we only have one here in Chicago now. The first one I've ever bought was a cane. At the time, they had Jakks had the figures where their chests were like plastic, and their limbs were rubber, and sometimes the head would be like rubber. But it was a cane, and it came with a monkey wrench or something. I think he used the wrench in his feud against Vader. Some of my favorite wrestlers growing up were Vader, Stan Hansen, Stan the Lariat Hansen, Brian Pillman, Sid Vicious, Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kane, Chris Jericho, Jeff Hardy, Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, Taz, Raven, Mike Awesome, Rhino, Steve Corino. Those are mostly ECW guys there I just named. WWF guys. Some of the WCW guys I liked were Sting, Lex Luger, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan. Who else? I like The Wall. Who else? Terry Funk. That's why I was watching wrestling. Terry Funk was in WCW, and shoot, let me see who else. Sandman was pretty cool. I like Mikey Whipwreck. It's a wrestler from ECW not many years ago, named Colin Delaney. I thought he would be the next Mikey Whipwreck, but it didn't turn out that way. He's just a beat 'em up doll, rag doll, and they released him. But yeah, those are some of my favorite wrestlers. I like Nova as well. Nova was one of the most imitated men in wrestling. They say his moveset was pretty cool. I remember he had a power bomb, and as they were like going down on the power bomb, he had like a elbow going in at like nether regions. It was pretty cool. So those are some of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I left out Rob Van Dam. I don't think I said Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam was my favorite ECW guy back in the day. I remember I could never find a Rob Van Dam action figure, and I had to wait until last year to get a perfect Rob Van Dam. I like to call him the perfect one because it represents his actual in-ring movements. You know how you get some toys, some action figures, and you might have a Spider-Man action figure that only moves the leg up and down. And this Rob Van Dam can move all kinds of ways. It was the Jax Rob Van Dam that came with the Jeff Hardy last year, and I bought that. So yeah, those were some of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Favorite wrestlers in WWE today? Drew McIntyre, pretty underrated guy. William Regal, Hunico, has had some great matches on Superstars with Justin Gabriel, who was another favorite. Tyson Kidd, Damien Sandow. I love his gimmick. I could relate to him. Kind of intellectual myself. Daniel Bryan, the no guy. I call him the man with abulia because he doesn't know. He can't make up his mind. One man's yes, next man's no. So I call him the abulia man. The indecision man. Sheamus. I like him better as a heel. Let's see who else. Antonio Cesaro. One half of the Kings of Wrestling with Cassius Ohno or Chris Hero. I like him as well. And Ryback. Those are all my favorite modern wrestlers. Oh, Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, and Brock Lesnar. So yeah, those are my favorite modern wrestlers. Wrestling podcasts. The Art of Wrestling, Cole Cabana's podcast. Conan's MLW podcast. And the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show. Well, being that there aren't any more wrestling schools in Chicago, the plan would be to find a wrestling school somewhere in the Midwest where I can get to and pay for training. But right now the plan is to bulk up and eat the right things. I'm not physically fit to wrestle right now, so I was always told to whatever I do be a good one, and I took that and said, well, I'm gonna be a great one, and I'm gonna be versatile as well. So being that I'm not physically fit to wrestle right now, the plan is to bulk up and eat the right food so I can do that. But I wrote like promos before, storylines. I've created my own maneuvers and things like that. So I'll be good for something announcing wise, manager wise, storyline. About writing matches and things like that. I'll do well in it. But I create entire gimmicks, and actually wrote my whole gimmick down on paper with the entrance music, my mannerisms, my move set, my look, my attire, everything else. But those are the plans. Yes. Perhaps start you gotta start somewhere. So of course start an indie organization And first and foremost, I just gotta get my weight up, get the adequate amount of muscle and weight where I won't take a scoop slam and that'll break my entire body like now. So yeah, those are the plans.